All right, welcome to our deals of the week. Before we get started, I just want to say that, I feel like that buyers are starting to dip their toes in the market, and I have some proof. It's anecdotal. It's just one experience, but I took a listing in Spring Hill I think it went live on Saturday morning. So this is the house here. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,582 square foot. It doesn't qualify for my deal of the week because it's brand new to the market. I think it is a great deal, but the point I'm trying to make is that when we put it up, I thought, okay, we'll probably be in the 45 to 60 days at this price before we get an offer. And I've been tracking the Zillow saves and views. Now, it doesn't tell you everything. An offer is not a view, or a view doesn't turn into an offer. But some other listings I've had after 4 days have had maybe 30, 35 views, or saves, I mean. So 97 saves and 1,600 views. And there's nothing terribly unusual about this property. I mean, it's super nice. It's super clean. It comes with, as you'll see, I think it's on the second picture. I just want to show you the one, sort of unusual or special thing about it. It comes with an additional lot. So here's the house over here. This is the house over here. So you get this whole buildable lot that goes along with it. In Spring Hill, lots are not super expensive, but you can use this. You could probably fence it. You have kids, dogs, extra vehicles, RVs. I mean, there's so many things you could do with an extra lot. So that is, I think, adding some value to it. But the point I'm trying to make is that we've had 7 showings in 3 days, which is more than I would have expected, to be honest with you. So the question is, are buyers inching their way back in the market? It certainly seems like it. So let me know what you think. Let's get started here for our first deal of the week. And we're going to go all the way out to Clearwater for this one. Now, this is kind of a super cool house. If you like this style house, it's kind of that Dutch colonial look. And it is in the Country Club Estates neighborhood of Clearwater. Super established neighborhood, wonderful location. Let's take a look. I don't do that much deal of the week stuff for Clearwater. Maybe I should start a little bit because there are some deals up there as well, but I just want to show you the location. And we're going to zoom way out because if you're not familiar with the Bay Area, so I'll give you a better idea. So you can see here where Gulf to Bay over to Clearwater Beach, one of the great beaches. You're not even that far from Honeymoon Island, which is a state park, which is a great place to spend the day. Downtown St. Pete is going to be 45 minutes, potentially an hour in traffic. But again, this road here, which is Kennedy or Gulf to Bay, goes right over the bridge, gets you into Tampa, the airport, which is here. And then the stadium is over here. So really good location, not in a flood zone, which is great. Let's just look at the price action before we get into the pictures, because it's kind of almost shocking a little bit. I didn't think you'd be able to get into this neighborhood for under 500 grand. So they started this was last June, they started at 550. That's 193 days now on the market. And they've had 1, 2, 3, 4 price drops. Took it off the market around Christmas time. Back on at $30,000, $40,000 price drop. So now we're at 247. I mean, for a Dutch colonial with a 2-car garage in a wonderful neighborhood at 247 a square foot is pretty cool. Now, there are some quirks to this house you may not like. First of all, I'm just going to show you the street view because, great curb appeal. These houses they're really nice looking, but look, this is the neighborhood. This is the street that you would be on. I mean, pretty similar size, pretty similar, well-kept houses. So super cool neighborhood. Let's buzz through the pictures. Nice 2-car garage, big, medium-sized living area. These houses were set up differently. The house is over 100 years old, by the way, built in 1925. So, you get the more formal dining area. Houses weren't designed around big couches and TVs. So, they might be cut up a little bit different. But obviously, they spent a ton of money on the kitchen. I mean, subway tile on the walls, if that's your thing. New cabinets. I mean, this is really nice. New appliances. This looks like pretty small. This is the room off to the room off to the side. Not huge. It's hard to tell sometimes when they do wide angle pictures how it kind of distorts the size of things. Like this TV looks like it's 10 feet wide, and this chair looks tiny. It's just the way that the wide angle sort of presents things. Now this is a bedroom on the first floor. They're considering this the primary. This is behind that sitting room, so it's got a flat roof and a mini split, which is nice, but it's very, very small. I mean, I would not consider this a primary. If I was buying this house, this would be a guest room. You know, looks like a twin bed, a 36-inch door, and then the bathroom was right there. That would not be, it doesn't scream primary suite to me. Again, this house needs some stuff. If I was going to buy it, I would get rid of this and do this is like a one-piece installation kind of thing. Because, nice, got some brick here, but I don't like these. I would just put in a new shower, tile, the whole deal. The point is this house does need a little bit. I think it does need a little bit of work. The first floor looks great. This second floor, you can see here, the floors are a little bit chewed up, and you'll see it even more. This one looks like they either put new floors over the top of the old ones or they refinished them. Oh no, actually they didn't. So you can see around the edges here that these are not new floors. So, and then there's another room that's even worse. So looks like this was stained a different color at some point. So this floor would need to be refinished as well. The bedrooms are not big. Again, with these single piece showers, I hate. So I'd get rid of that. You have a laundry room. I don't know if they don't show a picture that's big enough to indicate whether you could get a side-by-side here. And also, these things are small. These are just like little hooks to hang towels on, and they look like it looks like it's 4 feet wide. So it's hard to take pictures of a small room without distorting the dimensions. So they did add a lot of stuff to this house, but it looks like they stopped on the second floor. Again, these floors are not in good shape. They would need to be refinished. There's the other bathroom. So first floor, great. Second floor needs work. Big backyard. I mean, you could get a pool back there if you wanted. So this is where that bedroom was. Nice pour. I mean, you can do a lot with this backyard. I mean, look at this huge, huge garage. So a lot of space here. Let's just go ahead and score this one. The neighborhood, I'm going to honestly give it I'm going to give it a 9. Country Club Estates is wonderful. For maintenance, I'm going to give it a 6. The roof is 10 years old. The house is 100 years old. So that's the bones that you're buying. And we don't know about electric or AC. Those are easy to find out. But obviously you'd want to do a full inspection to make sure the structure is in good shape. It's just an unknown, and it's an old house. It's not everybody's thing. And older houses tend to need more maintenance. So we're going to give that a 6. Broad appeal, I'm also going to give a 6. I know that seems like a low score, but I don't think everybody's looking for a 5.3. I think that's too much. You'd almost rather see it with 4 legit bedrooms. But of course, you could set up the other bedroom as an office. Some parts of the house are cut up in a way that I don't think appeals to everybody. So I'm going to give that a 6. You do get that 2 full car garage in the backyard. I'd put a gate, an automatic gate here. That would just be wonderful. 192 days on the market, 5 price drops. Kudos to the listing agent and the owner of this house, inching their way into a price where they will start to attract buyers. So my final score is a 7.5. I will say my price target on this one, I know this is going to sound low and it's crazy low, but who cares at this point? $225 a square foot. That's what I want it at, which puts it at $445. That's what I want to pay for this house, because I want to be able to put, say, 90 grand into fixing up. I'm not going to reconfigure everything. The house looks like it's in pretty good shape, but I would like 90 grand. And at 445, that would put me at 535. I'd be thrilled with a Dutch Colonial and Country Club Estates with a 2-car garage for the low to mid 5s. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Would you take a chance on an older house that might need a little bit of work? I like it. I like it at 445. Let me know what you think. And let's take a look at house number 2. All right, here's house number 2. This is in the Meadow Lawn neighborhood. I don't think I've done any houses out there. So let's take a quick look at the map so you get a feel for it. And I just want to give you a little background on how, if you're not familiar with St. Pete, how things have unfolded over the last like 25 or 30 years. So this is downtown, and this would be the old Northeast neighborhood, one of the kind of coolest neighborhoods, super expensive. And then Snell Isle has always been nice, or actually this is Snell Isle here. So these are multi-million-dollar houses. But the way things have worked is one of the first neighborhoods to come back probably in the 90s was historic Kenwood, adjacent to downtown. And then we started our move northward for the most part. We got into Crescent Heights, and then our Crescent Lake and Crescent Heights, and then sort of Harris Park. So things tended to move this way and a little bit this way, Distant Heights, because people tend to want to stay in the non-flood box here. Now, if you're talking about multi-million-dollar houses that are raised, by all means, you can do something on the closer to the water or on the water and worry less about flood. Those houses that are built up are perfectly fine. What you want to be careful is buying a flood zone house that is not elevated. I know because I used to live in Shore Acres, and it got devastated in the last storm. So if you're not elevated, and you get flooded, you're going to have to redo that. It's just a hassle. So what we're seeing is a premium for the houses sort of in the non-flood zone. Now, there are some areas down on the south side that are also non-flood zone, but this is where you're going to be looking for your family, your normal family houses, your anywhere from the 3s to the 6s, maybe into the 7s. So let's take a look at this house. Let's look at the price action first. Now, it has been on the market 105 days. We love to see that. Not that sellers get desperate, but they start to entertain offers that they might not otherwise. The price action on this one is 1, 2, 3, and they're down almost 75,000, which you don't love to see on behalf of the seller, but the listing agent and the seller get together, and every month they look at it and say, are we getting enough action to warrant keeping the price where it is? No, let's drop it. Another month or two goes by, same thing, 25, 25, and 25. Very well done. I would guess I know they're getting into a range now where they're going to start getting some action. So let's buzz through the pictures. We love to see a full 2-car garage that's not been converted. Plus it was built in 1980. So you don't have some of the attending issues with electrical panels typically, or plumbing, like galvanized plumbing, which could be an insurance issue. So decent sized living area. Also something you're not going to see in an older house. These vaulted ceilings, nice windows up top here, get some natural light in. Beautifully maintained, super clean. Looks like a relatively new renovation. Big master, big primary bathroom. This house is neat as a pin. Plenty of room for a pool back here if you wanted. Could extend a roof over here to get some more shade or do a screen room back here. Nice big yard with some mature landscaping. So really, really nice. Let's go ahead and score this one. I'm going to give this, for days on the market, we were at 104 or 105 now. 3 price drops of 75,000. This is a wonderful pricing strategy on the part of the owner and the listing agent to inch their way into where the market is right now. Broad appeal, I'm going to give this a 10. This is absolute meat of the market. 3.2, 1,500 square feet. That's what most people are looking for. Maintenance, I'm going to give it an 8. It has a new roof, but we're not sure about the other systems, especially the AC. It's something we can find out about, but it's a block home built in 1980. So, we kind of like that. Established neighborhood. This neighborhood has room to grow. I'm not going to say it's the hottest neighborhood in town, but it is in an area where people are starting to look, because as they get priced out closer to downtown, Old Northeast is millions. Crescent Lake is maybe just under $1 million. Harris Park, a lot of the houses there are in the 6s. Not all of them. They're still affordable there. You end up a little further north, and that's where we are in the mid-4s at this point. So I'm going to give it an 8.6 total. I'm going to score it 8.6 out of 10. However, I'm going to say a price target of $275. I think we could do $275 a square foot on this, which would put us at $425. That's another $25. I think an offer at that would be considered. I think if they drop the price tomorrow to $425, it would be sold in a couple of days. That's my feeling. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. A 3.2, 1,500 square feet. If we could get it at $275 a square foot, are you in? I think it's worth a look. Let me know, drop a comment. Let's take a look at house number 3. All right, let's take a look at house number 3. This is not a house that I would typically pick out. It's new construction, almost $1 million. The reason that it sort of came onto my radar is because of this new construction in the city of St. Petersburg for $324 a square foot. I thought those days were gone. That tells you how things have shifted to a buyer's market. I know it's out of the budget for most people, but we are in the Jungle Terrace neighborhood, which I very, very much like. If you've seen my other videos, I've done a couple. Now it's kind of on the edge of the Jungle Terrace neighborhood, and it does have some negatives. Like Jungle Terrace, I think of more over here and less over here. And in fact, they even call this Magnolia Manor. But it is technically in the Jungle Terrace neighborhood. Now, it has only been on the market for 45 days. And with new construction, you never know with builders what their patience is. They tend to not love price drops because if they sell a model at $974 and then they build another of the same model somewhere else in town, people are going to point to that and say, I want that price. So often what you see with builders is in place of price drops, they'll do incentives, interest rate buy downs, but it's all on the table right now. We're in a buyer's market. So, I think they're willing to listen to anything. So they made a nice $25,000 price drop after about a month on the market, which is nice to see. So let's buzz through the pictures. We're not going to take too much time on this. This is a brand new house, so we're not going to be worried too much about old systems and stuff. Oh, and I forgot to even mention this. Possible seller concessions. What is that? When a seller says possible seller concessions and you're the buyer, I'm just crossing out possible here. And you brought it up, man. We're going to be asking for stuff. We're going to be asking for closing costs. We're probably going to be asking for, I don't know what we're going to be asking for. Definitely closing costs on this. Maybe an interest rate buy down plus a lower price. That's what we're going to be asking for to go in. Since they, look, locking in a 2025 price point while utilizing for a rate buy down. So it's all on the table with this house. Let's buzz through the pictures. It's really nice 2-story house. It's only a 3.2 and a half. And at this size, I would have expected another bedroom, but giant open living area. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, we're not going to spend too much time because there's nothing to nitpick here. This is brand new construction, little wine fridge in there. Everything is white, bright, perfect. A little extra touch there with the woodwork. Off the primary suite. Second bathroom, certainly serviceable. It's hard to get a feel when it's not furnished and everything's so white, but separate laundry. And then you got two balconies. You got a balcony up here and a nice porch here. I don't know if there's enough room for a pool here. We could certainly get a swim spa, but for the size of this house, you have a respectable yard, which I like. The only thing I don't like, let me go back to this, and I'm going to take points off. This is 38th Avenue. It's not on 38th. You can see by the address here, it's on the corner of 38th and 71st. So these houses now, with Google Maps, it's not, they do this at different times. So I think it's it's the second house, I think, here. It's not the first house. So you're not right up against the, and then you move down and then it disappears. So it's hard to tell. So the point is 71st is a 3-lane road. It's not no traffic. And then 38th is a busy road. So the question is, would there be too much traffic noise there? It's something to consider. So let's do the scorecards. Days on the market, 1 price drop. I'm going to give that a 6. Builders can be a little bit stubborn, but they're already offering incentives on this, which I love. Broad appeal, it's a 3.2, it's a 3.5 with a 2-car garage. It's maybe a little on the big side. Maybe some people don't want to go 3,000 square feet. It might be just a little bit too big, but I'm going to give that a 7. And then maintenance, we're going to give it a 10. We're going to assume that everything is in perfect working order, and you're going to get a new home warranty as well. And then the neighborhood, is a 9. It's established neighborhood, Jungle Terrace, but where it sits in the neighborhood is not perfect. It's close to a busy street, which maybe for some is going to be too much. So, price target. This is a pretty good price, man, but I'm going to go 310 on per square foot for a price target, which would put us at 931,000. If you were looking for 3,000 square feet, new construction, would you pay 931 for a house? Remember, this is in a cluster of houses. Most of the homes around it are a little bit smaller. The developer, the builder came in, bought up a few houses, bulldozed them, and put up this cluster, which is smart. You don't want to be the only big house in the neighborhood. You'd rather take some comfort in having some bigger houses around you, but then again, the rest of the neighborhood. But over the years, those houses probably get bought up, and these houses, this type of house will replace them. So let me know. This is a little bit of a tricky one. It's a high price point, but it is new construction, not easy to find in St. Petersburg. Let me know, drop a comment on any of the houses you saw today. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm a realtor here in St. Pete. I handle Pinellas, the Hillsborough County, a little bit of Polk County and Lakeland, and I got a listing in Hernando County. So I'm driving all over the place. If you're looking to buy or sell, give me a shout, send me a text, email, give me a call. I'd love to help you out. And with that, I will see you next time.